So if you look at the LNG consumption by industry for India, we are seeing the fertilizer is the highest user of LNG, which is 29%, followed by city distribution, and then of course there's power, refinery, etc., etc. But if you look at the LNG imports, India has to import about 50% of its LNG requirement, which is denoted by the blue chart. Out of that, 68% of LNG comes from the Middle East. If you look at LPG, India has to import 65% of its LPG requirement, uh, and out of that, 90% comes from Middle East. Same if you look at crude, India has to import 94% of its crude oil requirement, out of which 48% comes from Middle East. So if the disruption in Middle East does not reduce, broadly it will result into higher feedstock cost, it will result into higher power cost, higher fertilizer prices, etc. And broadly, it could lead to a significant inflation compared to what RBI is projecting right now. So on the input, cost trend, we talked about how there is a shortage of various inputs. If you really look at just for the fertilizer industry, for example, and as you can see the trend in 2017, about 49% of the fertilizer industry was using imported gas. Now that number has gone to 85%. So 85% of industry's gas requirements are met by imported gas. And that's why the intensity of the conflict and the shortage of fertilizer has a much more bearing on fertilizer prices as well as fertilizer supply compared to what it used to be 5 years back. If you look at various chemicals, so not just fertilizer, so the right-hand side chart shows the month-on-month impact of this conflict on various fertilizer prices as well as other agrochemicals. So, for example, if you see the on the fertilizer section, whether it's phosphoric acid, sulfuric acid, or ammonia, they have all up more than 50%. If you look at various chemicals like acetone, IPA, benzene, etc., they're all up 50%. In fact, in some cases, they have almost tripled. So broadly, it will not just impact fertilizer, it will impact the chemical industry, the agrochemicals, pharma industry, paint industry, so on and so forth. So far, the focus of the government is to ensure supply and worry about the prices later. So right now, India is facing the twin shock of higher prices as well as reduced supply. So first focus of the industry as well as the government is to ensure the supply at the right cost and to ensure that there is enough fertilizer for the Kharif cycle starting from June. So it has to be seen if in case the conflict ends soon, prices for fertilizer, chemicals, etc. will cool down. Otherwise, we are looking at a significant fertilizer subsidy as well as impact on other industries of this conflict in India as well.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.